Hello there. I'm currently on the upper deck of an Emirates A380 flying from London Gatwick to Dubai. This time I'm travelling in economy, hence the beautiful stemware. The wine I have in my glass is a South African Sauvignon Blanc. It's Journeysend 2024 V6 Sauvignon Blanc, and it's labelled as a wine of origin from the coastal region. So the coastal region, quite a broad region, comprising places like Stellenbosch, Constantia, Paarl, a lot of South Africa's traditional old winemaking districts in the area to the north of False Bay, in that area that's called by currents coming up from the south and the Cape Doctor wind. Now Journeysend is an estate owned by the Gabb family, who are originally from Shropshire in England. Roger Gabb was a wine importer. In 1980 he started Great Western Wines in the UK. Then in 1994 he launched a brand from South Africa called Khumalo. Khumalo is a very successful, quite high volume, entry-level brand of varietal wines from South Africa. It was in 1996 that the Gabb family in South Africa fell in love with this particular small wine farm, decided that it would work well as a flagship brand in association with Khumalo, purchased the property, and the estate is now 40 hectares. Evidently the first thing they did when they purchased the property was they grubbed up all the vines and completely replanted it. The estate is described as nestling in the foothills of the Hottentot Mountains with a view out over False Bay. The soils here are 350 million years old, decomposed granite soils. The fact that the estate is now 40 hectares includes the fact that in 2009 they purchased a neighbouring estate, one called Mount Rosio, and incorporated that into the property. They've since built a new winery. They've done everything to ensure the brand can be seen as fair trade, sustainable and environmentally friendly. They adopted a totally solar approach to power in 2014, and in April 2017 they were certified as fair trade. And in both 2020 and 2021 they won awards for being an ethical company in the drinks business Green Awards. In 2020, this was because they run a foundation that had been helping feed local families in need. And in 2021, they won a similar award, but this time for water management. They've even been recognised by the World Wildlife Fund for their considerate approaches towards wildlife. To talk about this wine, evidently 2024 was quite a cool season. The grapes are described as having been picked in the cool early morning. Notes I've seen for the 2023 vintage suggest that that was hand-picked. I get the impression that 2024 might have been at least partially machine-picked. Once the fruit arrived at the winery, it was gently crushed and had an 8-hour cold soak, just to allow the extraction of aromatics from the skins of the grape. That was followed by a period of cold settling before the wine fermented at cool temperature in stainless steel tanks. Again, I don't have figures for the 2024 vintage. They say the 2023 fermented for 30 days at just 13 degrees. And so that's going to be a way of preserving delicate aromatic fruit aromas in the wine. After fermentation, the wine spent a further 4 months in stainless steel tanks, aging with its lees, with those lees of dead yeast being stirred up occasionally to try and give the wine a little more richness, fatness and roundness. I don't have any scores for this wine, but let's take a look at it and see what we make of it. In terms of the colour, it's a pale yellow, almost watery white in the current light situation. Swirling it, I don't think I'm going to get much in terms of its adhesion to the glass, but it should help release aromas. The aromas are pungently grassy and nettly. This is a wine whose immediate perfumes are very much on the green spectrum for Sauvignon Blanc. There is perhaps a little bit of blackcurrant leaves, and perhaps a hint of asparagus, but also a little tropical fruit, perhaps passion fruit aroma as well. These are relatively pungent and relatively powerful aromas. So let's taste it. The wine is light to medium bodied. There is quite a roundness and a fullness to the back palate, where you can taste some slight yeasty notes. There's almost a sort of yogurty flavour and texture, and that's intermingling with those notes of grassiness, nettliness, but also perhaps passion fruit as well. So you've got these sharp green notes contrasting with some richer, rounder, more tropical notes. Perhaps also something with sort of a slight gooseberry texture as well, sort of almost a hint of pectin. This is quite a straightforward, cleanly made Sauvignon Blanc. And it's showing quite well in the conditions here at high altitude, where sometimes some of the sharp taste sensations of a wine can be lost. So yes, there is a roundness and a richness to the wine, but the green pungent notes in combination with fresh acidity giving the wine quite good length. Alcohol at 13% is reasonably well balanced. Perhaps there's a little bit of warmth to the back palate coming from that. It's not intruding or spoiling the wine. I think this is a well chosen wine. It's a pretty decent example of Sauvignon Blanc without being anything too complex. Obviously this isn't the ideal glass to be drinking it out of. But if I do have a criticism actually, one point I would make is that this wine was served to people throughout the cabin at room temperature. The wine wasn't chilled. I had to ask to have an ice cube popped in it just to chill it down a little. It's actually quite a basic point about wine service. I don't know how easy that would be to achieve in conditions on a flight like this, but if any way that were possible, I think that would improve the experience significantly. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've found the tasting of interest. If you've enjoyed it, please press the like button. If you'd like to watch more of these tastings, do please consider signing up and subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you have any comments, please pop those in the comments box below. I'd love to hear what you've got to say about the wines, the tastings, or anything else that relate to that. If you have friends you think might like to watch the video, please feel free to pass it on. I'll leave a link to the Wine Searcher webpage for this vintage of this wine so that you can find out if it's available near you and at what price. So thank you once again for joining me, and I do hope that maybe you'll make some time. Come and join me for another tasting in the near future. Till then, bye for now.